like to make the motion to adjourn the meeting.
We're here to handle the business, not let the business handle us. That's what we are elected to do, sir. So please.
It's her fault. It's her problem, her responsibility, and she failed. She's failed everybody.
The drama in Dolton, Illinois, just keeps getting wilder with every passing day. Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of this small Chicago suburb, is at the center of a political storm that seems to get more chaotic by the hour. If you thought small-town politics couldn't be interesting, think again. This latest saga involves everything from unpaid rent to accusations of misuse of taxpayer funds, and even talks of arrests. And let's not forget the township meetings, which are less about governance and more about Tiffany putting on a show. So let's dive into the mess that is Dolton under Henyard's rule.
Several new developments in South suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
To set the stage, Henyard, who was elected as mayor in 2021, has become one of the most controversial figures in local politics. She's facing multiple accusations, including allegations of lavish spending on taxpayers' dimes, using police as her personal security, and now wait for it, being evicted from her own home for not paying rent. Yes, you heard that right. The mayor of Dolton, who boasts a salary of nearly $300,000 from her mayoral and township supervisor roles, hasn't paid rent since August. Her landlord, Janetta Hull, once considered Henyard a friend but is now filing eviction papers because Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, have allegedly stopped paying the rent on their Dolton home.
You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
And if that wasn't enough, Henyard's leadership style is more like a reality TV villain than a public servant. Hull's story is just one of the many controversies swirling around Henyard. Hull has said that Henyard and her boyfriend owe her thousands in back rent. And they even had the audacity to change the locks and garage code on the house to keep her out. Hull, who's now on the verge of losing her property to foreclosure, is understandably furious, saying that this situation has left her between a rock and a hard place. According to Hull, it's not just about the money anymore. She wants them out of her house for good, and frankly, who could blame her?
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
But as one fire rages on the home front, another is burning in the political arena. Henyard is also embroiled in a bitter feud with the Dolton trustees, who have accused her of everything from forging checks to withholding financial records. The tension between Henyard and the trustees has reached a fever pitch, with both sides accusing the other of corruption and misconduct. In fact, the trustees have gone so far as to file a lawsuit against Henyard, and now she's hitting back in the most dramatic way possible. In a recent Facebook live rant lasting nearly 90 minutes, Henyard declared that she would be seeking the arrests of her political opponents, though she didn't specify what crimes they had supposedly committed. "I will be pressing charges," Henyard said with all the conviction of someone who's read too many legal dramas. It's a lot, and that's just me telling you a little bit.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some accountability.
The irony here is rich. Henyard, who is under federal investigation for her own lavish spending and misuse of taxpayer money, is now accusing her opponents of corruption. This is the same mayor who earlier this year was caught spending tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars on first-class flights, luxurious hotel stays, and fine dining in cities like New York and Atlanta. One unforgettable report revealed that she had dropped a whopping $43,000 on Amazon in a single day. Let that sink in. $43,000 on Amazon. And we're not talking about buying office supplies for the village. No, it's more like personal shopping sprees on the public's dime. Henyard's spending habits even caught the attention of former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was hired to investigate Dolton's finances. The findings were jaw-dropping. Dolton's general fund balance had plummeted from $5.61 million in 22 to a deficit of $3.65 million by May 2024. That's almost a $9 million swing in less than 2 years, all under Henyard's watch.
The legal appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
But it's not just about the glitzy trips and extravagant parties. Henyard's spending sprees have left the village in dire straits, with vendors going unpaid and crucial services hanging in the balance. In one particularly egregious case, it was revealed that at least 589 checks, amounting to over $6 million, were printed but never sent to vendors. This has not only damaged the village's reputation, but also left local businesses scrambling to stay afloat. Henyard's opponents have pointed to this as proof that she's more interested in her own lifestyle than in taking care of the people she was elected to serve. And with federal investigators reportedly digging deeper into Dolton's finances, it's clear that these issues aren't going away anytime soon.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for church. That's what it's for. You just got it.
But does Henyard show any remorse for the village's financial woes? Of course not. If anything, she's doubling down on her self-assigned role as the town's savior. In her Facebook rant, she accused her critics of being jealous and said she'd reveal the full truth at a later date, which, let's be real, sounds like a plot twist in a soap opera. She also hinted that her opponents were trying to distract the public with their accusations to hide their own corruption. Why do we have all this attention on Tiffany Henyard? She asked, as though she were the innocent victim of some grand conspiracy. What the hell are they doing that they don't want us to know about? Meanwhile, the residents of Dolton are left shaking their heads, wondering how they ended up with a mayor who seems more interested in playing the victim than addressing the real issues facing the village. Water main breaks, unpaid vendors, and a police force stretched thin because officers are too busy acting as Henyard's personal bodyguards. These are just some of the problems plaguing the town. And yet, Henyard continues to insist that everything we do is for the people, as though her extravagant spending is somehow a service to the community.
Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
One particularly shocking revelation from Lightfoot's investigation was that village credit cards were used for everything from high-end furniture on to travel expenses for taxpayer-funded trips to Las Vegas. And let's not forget the billboard campaign featuring Henyard's face plastered all over town, as though Dolton were some kind of personal fiefdom where she could do as she pleases. In one particularly tone-deaf move, she even threw an $85,000 party featuring R&B singer Keek Wyatt and rapper Jay Holiday, all while the town's financial situation was spiraling out of control.
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
As if things couldn't get any more bizarre, Henyard's township meetings have become infamous for their dysfunction. Case in point, the most recent meeting, which turned into what can only be described as a live-action dumpster fire. The meeting was supposed to address important township business, but instead, it devolved into chaos as Henyard sparred with the trustees and refused to let one of them, Trustee Caro, participate via phone. Caro's absence was due to safety concerns, and yet Henyard dismissed her colleagues' legitimate concerns with pettiness and arrogance, refusing to accommodate her virtual attendance.
But it saddens my heart that you are up here at this special meeting and not downstairs where we have big bingo.
And that's not all. When it came time to approve the meeting minutes, Henyard acted like a dictator, trying to bulldoze her way through the proceedings without any discussion. She even had the nerve to second her own motion when no one else would, a blatant violation of parliamentary procedure. As the meeting wore on, it became clear that Henyard was more interested in grandstanding than actually getting anything done. When another trustee, Chris Gonzalez, finally had enough and walked out, Henyard wasted no time spinning the narrative to suit her agenda. She claimed that Gonzalez had abandoned his duties and was unwilling to handle the business of the people, conveniently ignoring the fact that her own behavior was the reason the meeting had fallen apart in the first place.
Township residents are paying for her fun.
It's no wonder that residents are growing increasingly fed up with Henyard's antics. One commenter on a YouTube video about the township meeting summed up the general sentiment perfectly. Arrest this clown already. Another commenter didn't hold back either, saying she is the worst enemy of the residents. The very worst, by a mile. These comments reflect a growing frustration among Dolton residents who feel that Henyard is more interested in maintaining her grip on power than in actually serving the community. But despite the mounting criticism, Henyard remains defiant. She's even announced that she's running for re-election, much to the dismay of many in Dolton. In typical fashion, she made the announcement on Facebook, saying, "I am running for re-election for mayor of Dolton," as though the last few years of scandal and mismanagement hadn't even happened. And while her political opponents, like trustee Jason House, are rallying to challenge her in the upcoming election, Henyard seems determined to fight tooth and nail to keep her position. Her campaign finance records may show that she hasn't raised much money recently, but that's not stopping her from pushing forward with her re-election bid. The question now is whether the residents of Dolton will give her another chance, or if they'll finally decide that enough is enough. Henyard's tenure as mayor has been nothing short of chaotic, with accusations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and abuse of power piling up faster than she can deny them. And with the FBI reportedly investigating her spending habits, it's unclear how much longer she'll be able to keep her grip on the town. But if there's one thing we've learned from Henyard, it's that she's not going down without a fight. In the end, the saga of Tiffany Henyard is a cautionary tale about what can happen when someone treats public office like their own personal playground. Her rise to power may have been meteoric, but her fall, if it comes, will be just as spectacular. The residents of Dolton deserve better, and hopefully, they'll make their voices heard in the next election. Until then, we'll all be watching to see what Tiffany Henyard does next, because if there's one thing we can count on, it's that she'll make sure to keep the drama going. So what do you think? Will Henyard manage to hold onto her position despite the mounting scandals? Or is this the beginning of the end for Dolton's super mayor? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button if you think it's time for a change in Dolton's leadership.